Okay. You have to.
Yes.
Okay.
No,
Oh,
no,
you
no.
can.
I can hear you now. I
Oh,
can hear
good.
you
Okay.
now
I
perfectly.
thought you had
Okay.
to take off the earbuds.
No, no.
Cool. Okay.
Okay,
Good
Dr.
evening,
Sarah, thank you
everybody.
very much. First of
Oh,
all, thank you very much for taking up the time. And
sure. Thank you for having me.
let's get this conversation very casual. And let me ask you, let's deep dive into the core questions, your specialty,
Yeah.
the carnivore
Awesome.
diet.
Yes.
So the thing is that maybe you know, or maybe you don't know that we Indo-Pak nation are very late adapters of
Mm,
technology and diet plans. So what I hear in fitness industry here nowadays is low carb, low sugar diet, intermittent fasting, these
yeah.
kind of things. But the carnivore is something very new.
Yeah.
I haven't heard it in my surroundings. So I know what's the carnivore diet. So please tell our audience that what is it, and let's deep dive into it.
Sure. So the carnivore diet is the human species specific diet. It is the diet that we ate for 99.99% of our existence as a species here on Earth. You have to remember, we evolved during millions of years of evolution, where we evolved during an ice age where plants couldn't grow. And so the only food that was available to us was fatty mammals. And so we hunted and we mainly ate protein and fat. And it's only in the past 0.01% of our existence as a species here on Earth that we started eating plant foods and carbohydrates. And so our DNA, our genetics have not had enough time to adapt to this much newer source of food in the form of plant foods and in the form of carbohydrates. And this is why you see when people go back to eating what our DNA has been exposed to for 99.99% of its existence, which is red meat and animal foods, so many things clear up. I mean, psoriasis goes away, people lose weight, their mood improves, they have more energy. You don't have dips in energy every 2 hours or 3 hours like is the case when you're eating carbs and sugars. People get pregnant. They think they have problems with fertility, and then all of a sudden they get pregnant. And so that's because it improves your hormones, it regulates your hormones. Every single thing that you can think of is affected by diet. And going back to eating our species-specific diet is the single strongest tool that we have at our disposal to improve every aspect of our life.
Okay, that's great. But in contrary, the vegetarian diet, what you want to say about that? The vegetarians don't
Yeah.
agree with this, you know? They don't
The
eat meat. Yep.
The
What you,
vegetarian diet, unfortunately, lacks so many nutrients, so many vitamins and minerals, not only vitamins and minerals, but even things that we have only very recently discovered, like taurine, creatine, carnosine. Those are things that can only be found in red meat in high enough amounts. NAD. NAD is a form of vitamin B3 that is absolutely concentrated in red meat. Not even, chicken and fish has some, but like red meat is the single greatest source of NAD, which is the number one thing you need to slow down the rate of aging. If you don't want to start having wrinkles in your 20s and in your 30s, you want to be eating more foods that are rich in NAD. You want to be eating more red meat. So the vegetarian diet, unfortunately, it's really what most of the world population subsist on, right? I mean, 99% of the people in the world tend to eat plant-based because it's much cheaper. It's a lot
yeah,
more expensive to afford protein, right? To afford meats. And so
true,
I
true.
grew up in Lebanon before I came to the United States. So I also grew up eating a plant-based diet, mainly vegetarian, with
Yeah,
tiny little bits and pieces of meat because it was just so much cheaper to cook rice and beans, and you can get some protein from the beans, right? And you feed the whole family and you don't spend as much money. And
true, true,
so
true.
the reason why the vegetarian diet is so prevalent is first and foremost cost. It's a lot cheaper. Second of all, there are a lot of the way it started in terms of like why the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics here in the United States still recommends a plant-heavy diet. It all started back in the like early mid 1900s, where you had a group of very religious people called the Seventh Adventists. That's
Seven Adventists.
Seventh Adventists, yes.
Okay, okay.
They,
From which region? Indo-Pak region it is?
it's a type
Or
of
some
religion here in the United States,
in
right?
United States. Okay, okay.
In the United States.
Okay.
And they believed that a vegetarian diet is the healthiest diet because it's going to make you not have urges to sin. So you wouldn't have the urge to masturbate. And
Okay,
so
okay, okay, okay.
they wanted to, they followed that diet and they preached that diet because they thought that if people ate a vegetarian diet, they're not going to have libido, right? Which means their
Oh,
hormones
yeah,
are going
yeah,
to be shot, which is why they won't have libido and they
yeah,
won't
yeah,
have the urge to masturbate because back then they believed that masturbation was a sin and it's going to
yeah.
take you further away from God. And so this is how the whole nutrition field started because two of the people that founded actually one of the people that co-founded the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics was the head dietitian for the Seventh Adventist Hospital. So she was like one of the top people in that Seventh-day Adventist religion and believed so heavily in the vegetables and the plant-based narrative. And she went on and co-founded, started the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. Back then, it was called the American Dietetics Association. Now they changed its name recently into the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. So this whole idea that plants are good for us, it all starts from people having already believing that plants are good, vegetables are good, so they must be healthy for us. So let's now go out and fund studies that prove this to be true. It's a
Okay, okay,
confirmation
okay,
bias
okay,
that
okay.
they already had.
Okay.
It
So
had nothing to do with science.
is there anything which is present in vegetables and is not present in meat? You know,
No.
they say you have to balance both diets because in Pakistan, I'm from Pakistan, we Muslims, we eat vegetarian diets, we eat meat, but halal meat.
Right.
I hope you know how to,
How
slaughter that meat.
can you share with us what's the difference between halal meat and regular
Yeah,
meat?
the regular meat is like when you slaughter any animal, you just cut the throat and
Yeah.
the blood, cut the animals into pieces, and the blood remains into the veins of the animal. So
Okay.
you don't. This is not halal because blood is not pure. Okay, you can't eat blood, or with the halal process of sacrificing is that you only cut the half of the throat, so the blood came out and from the animal, and
Uh-huh.
then you cut the other half and then cut it into pieces, so the blood completely came out from the body from this vein, so you don't have to eat blood with the meat. That's the only difference.
Okay.
So
All right.
so
Okay. So it's
we
fine
will.
in terms of, yeah,
Yeah,
but in terms of nutrients, it's still the same,
yeah,
right?
it's the same. Yeah, we only don't want to eat or drink blood, and we believe that both we have to eat fruits, we have to eat meat, we have to make a balance in our diet. So
You,
is there anything
you
which is
have to,
present in?
I think because of religion, you must or you choose to.
No, 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 no.
Oh, one sec.
Or if he is only a carnivore, it's not in
Got a
religion.
text.
But
I
I
got a
believe,
text and I didn't hear you.
sorry, I can't hear you once again.
Can, okay, I can hear you. I can hear you. It's just that your
Yeah,
volume
yeah,
is
yeah, yeah, yeah.
low. Okay, now I can hear you very
Yeah.
well.
So yeah, so it's not mandatory in Islam that we can be a very good Muslim if we eat vegetables or we eat meat. It's my
Right.
belief, my thinking that we need to balance both. So I'm asking, is there anything which is present in meat and is not present in vegetables, or is there something present in vegetables and not present in meat? Is there anything like that?
Yeah,
Or
there are at least 15 to 16 nutrients that we have already discovered that are not found in enough amounts or at all in plant foods. So if you only eat plant foods, right off the bat, you start developing deficiencies in those at least 15 to 16 vitamins and minerals. Not to mention, you are
exactly
getting
that
exocrine.
I yeah that I
Go ahead,
know.
go ahead.
That what we say to all the vegetarians, that you have to eat meat too. Meat is very essential for our body. But is there anything which is not present in meat but present in vegetables and fruits? Is there anything like
Nothing.
that?
Nothing.
Nothing. So,
If that were the
hmm,
case, we wouldn't have people who only eat meat for 10, 20 years and are thriving. Not only they don't have any disease, they actually reverse their disease. They lost the weight and they no longer have arthritis. So human beings have eaten only meats
okay, okay,
for all their
okay, okay.
lives, for the vast majority, for millions of years, for the vast majority of our existence as a species. The reverse cannot be true. We don't have people who only eat plant foods without any supplementation who remain healthy. That's why over 80% of vegans have to quit a vegan diet because they start breaking apart.
Can you give a reference for me and for the audience, any book that you're talking
Ooh, yeah.
this about? Because I have read only one book of history, that is *Sapiens* by Mr. Harari, and it's my favorite book.
Brad, I
And
never
that
read
I
it.
haven't heard about. I haven't read about this eating things and meat things. I read how humans evolve, but I don't know what they
I would
ate
I
back then.
would get the Carnivore Diet by Dr.
Okay,
Sean Baker. It's one of the
okay,
best books on the
okay, okay.
topic. Yeah, I would start there.
All right. And what are your thoughts about vegetarian meat? So what you want to say to the vegetarian meat
Don't
fellows?
touch it. Don't touch it.
Okay, it's
Anything, anything that comes out of a package is not food. It's a science fair project. Okay?
okay. Very well said. Very well said. So let's talk about the acne and your transition. I'll come to that at the end because it's the most important part and the special part. I myself was really amazed when I saw your pictures. So yes, tell us about the acne. In my experience, I never faced that acne problem, but the people I see with the acne are, I think they this is because of their eating habits. They
Yeah.
eat too much fried food, I guess, oily food, deep fried food, the burgers and fries.
Yeah.
That's my understanding.
Basically, it's insulin. That's the root cause of your
Okay.
acne. The whole reason I started reading additional things outside of what I was being taught in nutrition school is because I had acne that no dermatologist could fix. It was hormonal acne. It wasn't too
Yes.
bad, but it was, under the skin, the same color of the skin. So like on certain angles, you could see it. It wasn't smooth. And it bothered me a lot. And that was around the age of 18 when I started really paying attention to it and it became a problem. And and I was in school to become a dietitian. I was getting my bachelor's in nutrition, right? And they were teaching us to eat all the carbs and be afraid of the fats. And I was following it and I was eating all the carbohydrates and it just wrecked my health. And every single dermatologist that I would go to would prescribe all the drugs and they wouldn't work. I've taken antibiotics. So one of the stupidest mistakes I've done, 3 months of antibiotics. I've taken birth control pills, hormones to regulate, didn't work. I've taken Accutane twice. If you know about Accutane, you know how dangerous.
No. Please explain it. I don't know about what
Accutane
is
is
Accutane.
a form of vitamin A given in very high doses, and it's supposed to be this very great drug for acne. It made my acne worse. I started for the first time getting cystic acne, which is a form of acne that I never used to get before, and it didn't work. And it increases dramatically risk of suicide and depression. You cannot get pregnant or even contemplate getting pregnant because the baby will have deformities if you've ever taken this drug. So it's a very dangerous drug. Yeah, and it didn't work. So I've taken all the drugs, all the topical creams, pills, nothing worked. And I came to a point, it was like a very, I hit rock bottom because I didn't know where else to go. It's like, I'm seeing all the doctors, I'm doing everything they're telling me. I'm supposed to know how to eat because I'm getting my education in nutrition school, and it's not working. And that's
Yes.
when I started.
I have seen a lot of girls, especially girls in my country, in India and in China, in our region. A lot of girls are going to dermatologists for all these things, and for years and years they are the same. I've known girls from my college. It's been now 10 years. This still have acne. So for them, please let us know how you cure it. How you?
It was the diet, because I started doing the research. I started buying books and reading different kinds of research outside of what I was being taught. And I came across a whole body of science that existed that shows that it is the insulin. This is why hunter-gatherer tribes, there are still to this day hunter-gatherers that live like in tribes, and they're not civilized, and they just eat, they hunt animals and they eat them, and so they don't have acne. Even their teenagers don't have acne. And so how can it be that even their teenagers don't have any instance of acne? And this is where the whole idea that diet is linked to acne started. And so I tried to cut out the carbohydrates. From the first month that I tried, it actually fixed my skin dramatically. But I was still having fruits. And so over time, as I learned more and more, eventually I also cut out the fruits. So now when I do mainly carnivore, this is the best my skin has ever looked. I don't put anything on it, no medication, no drug, no cream, nothing. And I don't even have to put foundation. In the past, I couldn't leave the house without putting foundation on my skin. It was awful.
Okay.
Especially if you go out and it's a really hot day, or you want to go to the gym and run and you want to sweat. It's just really very emotionally scarring. So yeah, the reason why diet causes acne is because when you eat carbohydrates, your body releases insulin.
Yes.
Insulin increases free testosterone. When you have increases in free testosterone, that promotes sebum production or oil production from your skin follicular glands, or the sebaceous glands in your skin. So now you're producing more oil, and that increases the chances of you getting acne dramatically. And so this is why anything that increases insulin in your body, you need to cut that out. First, cut out all the carbs, even fruits. Second, there are things that also spike insulin, even though they're not very high in carbs. Things like dairy, right? So even cheese or cottage cheese or milk or yogurt.
So how about low-fat milk or whole wheat breads? Are they also dangerous?
Breads increase insulin to the maximum amount, more so than any other food on the planet.
Even the whole wheat, even the whole wheat breads,
even the whole wheat,
brown
even the
breads.
whole wheat. There's not much of a difference between it and white bread. Yes.
Okay.
So all the breads have got to go. And then the non-dairy milk, the non-dairy milks, I wouldn't recommend them for other reasons. But in terms of insulin, they might not spike your insulin as much unless they add sugar to them.
Okay, so let's move forward to our last part, and the most important and interesting, and the thing that amazed me about you, your diet journey. I have seen your previous pictures and the current you, and I want our audience who will listen this and who are listening this to go to your profile and check out, to get some motivation. You cut all the fat very fast. You know, if I check myself, it's been like 10 years I haven't touched any carbonated drink, or it's been like 7, 8 years I haven't I haven't eaten white rice or white bread, only brown rice and brown bread. And my body shape is almost the same, but my body energy level is very I'm very feel very energetic now and very fresh all the time. So but in your case, my body shape is the same, but it's been like 7, 8 years journey. But in your case, I don't know, it's 1 or 2 years journey. How
Yeah,
much
yeah,
time you
around
took?
2 years, I would say. Yeah,
Yeah. So in two
because I
years,
would,
you were
yeah,
like
so
a
go.
totally, completely different person physically.
Yeah,
So how you did that? Because the psychology of exercise, what I believe is, first you have to, convince your mind to go to the gym or to leave that thing, because it's the eating is very addictive. Sugar is very addictive,
yes.
and carbs are very addictive. So first you have to train your mind, train your brain to go to the gym. So I hope this is the psychology of exercise you teach.
Yeah,
So tell us about this, because I think this is the most important part, that whenever I talk to somebody, that you have to go to the gym, or you have to leave that food, or you don't have to eat this, eat that. The most difficult part for anybody is to train their brain. So how you
yeah.
suggest to do that thing, the psychology of exercise?
Great question. It's hard. I'm not gonna lie. Any change is hard because if something that you haven't done before, you don't have the habit already created in your brain. And so you have to force yourself whenever you really want something, whenever you really want to change a habit, you have to feel uncomfortable the first few times, because it's similar to going to the gym and lifting, let's say doing a bicep curl, right? The first
Mhm.
time you pick up a weight and you're doing a bicep curl, it's not going to feel too comfortable. It's like, oh, this is so heavy.
Mhm.
But the second time you go and you lift the same weight, it gets easier because your body realized like, oh, okay, you want to do this? I'm going to create now stronger muscles so that it becomes easier for you to lift that weight. It's the same thing that happens with all of our other habits. So whether you eat sugar, carbs or not, it's the same thing versus if you eat them. So the first time you decide that you are going to get healthier and you want to drop weight or just get healthier, maybe you don't want to lose weight,
Mhm.
maybe you just want to get healthier. That first day is going to be the hardest. And my recommendation is you don't have to go cold turkey. You don't have to say, I'm going to go from eating all the carbohydrates in the world to eating zero carbs. You're going to have a headache. It's not going to feel good. So my recommendation is start lowering gradually the amount of carbs that you're eating and focus on increasing gradually the amount of protein and especially animal foods that you're eating. If you do that, it's going to be so much easier and you're not really going to get the headache or feeling just very fatigued and tired, right? And so that's number one. Take
Okay.
small steps. Number two, you got to have a purpose. Why are you doing it? You got to have a strong reason to stick with it, right? And I feel like the number one reason why people struggle to achieve their fitness goals is because they don't have a goal that's inspiring enough for them to
So
pull
true,
them
so true,
toward.
so true. Yeah.
And why do they not have that goal? They're too realistic. They look around what society tells them is realistic or not
Mhm.
realizing that whatever is realistic, it's just what other people, those are like the reflections of other people's limitations. They created that reality.
Mhm.
So it's only impossible until it's done. I love that quote, right? Because once one person actually does something that was previously considered unrealistic, now all of a sudden, oh yeah,
Mhm.
you can do it. It's
Yeah,
just that
yeah,
you have to decide that you're going to be the one who's going to do it. And now it's easier for other people, but you don't have to wait for other people to break barriers. You can do that. You can be 70 years old and decide that I'm going to change my life at 70 years of age. And what a beautiful story. What an inspiring story that's going to be. You're going to get way more followers if you start transforming your health at 70 versus somebody who transformed their health at 20, right? Because it's like, it's easy at 20, but how many people are doing it at 70?
Exactly. Tell me if I'm wrong. Whenever somebody asks me about the diet, I tell them only two things. That number one, you have to quit all the carbonated drinks. The number one enemy of our body, what I think the hardest fat to cut in our body is carbonated drinks. And second, daily, please go to the gym daily and do exercise 5 minutes, 10 minutes, till you enjoy. It's not like you have to exercise 30 minutes, 1 hour. Go daily, but do 5, 10, 15, half an hour, 1 hour, till you enjoy the exercise. If you are feeling fatigue or feeling bored at the gym, quit and come back, but go daily.
Yes, that's a great advice, especially at the beginning, to put in that habit. Even if you don't feel like it, even if you just force yourself to get to the gym for 5 minutes, that creates the habit loop in your brain so that you don't even think about it eventually. And then you start seeing results, and then you start getting motivated to increase more the intensity and the time that you're actually, working out. And there's so much free information. Everybody has a phone. Go online, go to YouTube, watch all the content. I mean, we are putting out free content on the daily.
The thing is, there is a lot of misinformation too, because before talking to you, I was reading about the carnivore diet, and there were many articles about, why you shouldn't go for that. And some are talking about the benefits, but some are talking about you have to quit that diet. And there is also very too much misinformation there.
True. But you can also figure out, like, why are they putting out that kind of information, right? Because there is, like, the basics. Everybody can get fit and healthy on any kind of diet. So the basics are there and they're free. Now, yes, to understand why the carnivore diet is the optimal human diet, you need to put in more time researching it so that you understand that the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics is not recommending the carnivore diet, and instead it's recommending, all the carbs and all the plant foods. But you have to understand why they're doing it. And a lot of the times you just see that they're working hand in hand with the food companies. I mean,
exactly.
It's mind-blowing. You literally go to their conventions, to the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics conventions, where they have speakers coming in, and the people who are speaking are literally working for the largest food companies. They're putting out the most addictive foods. How can that be? What a conflict of interest, So
you have anything for the smokers and alcoholics? You want to say something to them? Is it good or is it bad? How bad it is?
Well, smoking is great for you. It's okay to smoke.
Okay. Okay.
No. So I think everybody knows, right? Everybody knows that smoking and drinking alcohol, those are poisons, those are toxins. I think the question is, why do you feel the need to engage in those behaviors? And oftentimes it's because your brain chemicals aren't working right. And why are they not working right? You're eating too many plant foods, not enough red meat, you're not exercising. If you just focus on eating red meat, working out, and getting enough sleep, those are the basics, but they are going to give you 99% of the benefit in fixing the brain chemicals so that you don't have deficiencies in your brain chemicals, so that you don't have cravings or you don't feel tempted to change your brain chemicals by drinking alcohol or smoking. And so you got to treat the root cause. It's not about, I'm just going to stop smoking, but I'm still going to eat McDonald's, right? Because it's going to be so hard, not to smoke. It's going to be so hard not to drink. if you don't fix the root cause of an imbalanced brain chemical or an imbalanced brain that's inflamed.
There's another theory of mine, which I every time someone asks me how to, quit sugar, so or how to quit Coke or Pepsi, any carbonated drink. So I tell them, see, the Coke is a combination of sugar and caffeine. So instead of taking Coke, you eat some fruit and take some tea or coffee to,
Yeah. And,
get
and
sugar and caffeine.
you can do sparkling water too if you like that carbonation. That's what I do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Unsweetened,
yeah.
unflavored, sparkling water, you can do that. But again, you gotta have a reason. You gotta have a big enough reason that's going to allow you to be a little bit uncomfortable those first few days when you're changing your diet,
I think the main thing, the core of this whole topic is that you have to work out, and the psychology of exercise. You have to go and work out, sweat out, and train your brain to
Yeah.
exercise somehow. And that's or that what you already told us how to do that. And at the end, what are your thoughts about coffee?
So I don't drink coffee, and
Okay.
I generally recommend that most people cut out on coffee, and that's
Mhm.
because coffee contains caffeine. What is
Mhm.
caffeine? Caffeine is literally the coffee bean plant's self-defense chemical, right?
Yeah,
The
it's
way
a
that the
fruit.
coffee bean, huh?
Yeah, it's a fruit. It's a fruit, coffee bean.
So it's a bean, right? And
Yeah,
beans
yeah,
are the single most heavily defended part of the plant, right?
yeah.
So the caffeine is an insecticide. It is designed to kill or animals.
I'm asking a wrong question from a carnivore dietitian.
Exactly. So it's
Okay.
not the worst thing. Like I say, for most people, the number one thing you want to do is cut out the carbs. It's fine if you're
Mhm.
still drinking coffee. For me personally, it gives me headaches. And so for me, I can't do coffee. This is why I
Okay.
haven't had a cup of coffee since like 8 months ago.
Okay. Okay.
So it depends. If you have a strong enough reason, then cut it out. But if it's just overall improving your health, you don't have to start there. You can start with the carbs. Like that's the number one thing. Cut out the carbs first. It's fine if you're still having coffee here and there. But ideally try not to put too much sugar in it because then,
Yeah.
that
No,
becomes,
no.
yeah,
Sugar is a big no. Always take black
it's done.
coffee or low fat milk coffee. Sugar is a big no. That's the reason you told about the acne and
Yeah.
deep
And the
root
addiction.
cause of yeah, addiction. Yeah, they say sugar is more addictive than cocaine. So
Yes. It's so, so true.
yes.
That's what I did my PhD doctorate on, the
Mhm.
addictive properties of sugar, basically. So
Okay, okay. So, one tip you want to give to quit sugar? One
one
tip.
tip to quit sugar, I would say the number one thing you want to do is, well, it depends. There are two types of people. Some people can go out cold turkey, stop sugar like
Hmm.
that. And it's
Hmm.
and it's easier for them to do it that way.
Hmm.
You know yourself. You know how you function better. So if you feel like it's easier for you to just cut it out completely, great. Just make sure you drink a lot of things like bone broth on the first few days because it might give you a headache. So try to do that just to minimize withdrawal symptoms as much as possible. Now, if you are in the other group of people who struggles to cut out sugar completely like that, then gradually lower the amount that you're eating. So if you're normally eating, let's say 500 calories worth of sugary foods a day, cut it to 250 and then cut that to 125 calories and then eventually
Yeah.
cut that out completely. So
Uh,
you
uh,
know yourself.
so, what was your motivation to cut out the fat you did in past 2 years? What was your motivation?
So for me, I'm building my brand, which is fitness, dance, and music, and like
Okay,
the
okay.
whole business of I guess, fitness and lifestyle and chasing your
Yes,
dreams.
yes, yes.
That's what my brand stands for. And so for me to be able to build that brand, I'm always challenging myself to look better. I'm always challenging myself to be fitter, to have more energy, to be more productive. And so I do this in every aspect of my life, not just with diet. I do it in everything else. I'm always trying to, what else can I do to get better? And so that's why.
So if anybody wants to follow your journey, wants to be like you, wants to be Dr. Sarah physically, so you have any course, you have any YouTube channel,
Yeah,
please
so
tell
I
us
do
about
think,
that.
yeah, so I have a YouTube channel, Dr. Sarah Zaldivar, Sarah with an H, and I guess people can tell what my
Yeah, yeah.
handle is, so it's easy to find me. I post a lot of content on YouTube and on Instagram. I do take coaching clients as well. If you want more information on that, check out my website, drsarahzaldivar.com.
Okay,
Go to
great.
the /shop. In the shopping area is where you would find information on the coaching and consulting services. I do have some online courses that I always link in my YouTube channel in the description box. So yeah, it's pretty easy to find me.
Okay, great. I'll link your website and your courses when I put this video on YouTube and on Facebook too. So, any last message you want to give to the society to be a better
Yeah.
human physically?
Just chase your dreams and stop trying to be so realistic. That's like the number one way you're gonna fail if you're trying to be way too realistic about things.
Okay, okay. So let's call it a day. That was really sweet talking to you. The positive vibes are all over. I can feel it. So
That's
uh,
awesome. Thank you so
yeah.
much. This has been so much fun.
Yeah, I hope so. You enjoyed, our audience enjoyed, they get something and they will follow all your tips. And I will try to follow also the carnivore diet more now. So I'll share my results with you
Please
soon.
do. We've got a
So,
conversion right there happening. I'm so happy.
okay, great talking to you, Sarah. See you
Me
soon.
too.
Okay,
See you
talk.
soon. Thank you so
See you
much.
soon.
Bye,
Thank you
everybody.
so much. Bye
Sure.
bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Okay.